tuning in. My name is Ibrahim Diallo, and this is part 7 of how to build a website from scratch. So far, we have our framework almost ready for prime time. We can try to access it through the URL, and it can give us some default values, and that's good. It means we're getting somewhere. But what we want is to be able to create a page and have it display, and we're gonna get that today. We're gonna get there. In the previous episodes, we really did a lot of work. We wrote code, we started with the framework, and today we're gonna try to complete that framework to get it to a point where we can display a page. It's not gonna be very complicated. Every single piece of code will be available for you to download, so you can follow along better. You don't have to pause the video every time to see exactly what I did, but you can do that too, but it's not necessary. You will have access to the code. And I'm sure you're learning a lot now by just listening and seeing the process of how things are getting there. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, so this is where we left off the last time. We had the tag Scratch Blog framework that was directly printed inside the controller, and now we can actually write some code to support a template. So the first thing I'm gonna do is try to add a view. A view is just an object that will be in charge of the templates. So by template, I simply mean HTML files that we can include. So for example, we'll have a template for the default layout of the page, something that'll have the header, the footers, and all that. So we're gonna have that, and yeah, we're gonna write the class that's going to handle that in some way. It's just something that can create content, like layout content in this case. And yeah, we're getting started. So I'm just putting some getters and setters here, and the main part, which will be get view, is going to have a little more logic in there, so that way we can tell it exactly which template to look for and which variable to pass. I haven't written that yet, but we're gonna get there. Also, inside this template, I'm gonna have a local view. I mean, I know it's a little weird for me to call it like that, but it's gonna prove very useful. Local view is gonna be kind of like a helper. It's because, PHP is being criticized for having all the tools available right away. You have too many options, and it can become sometimes, because you have too many options, it can become very hard to control. So the view will only have like a few things that we really need to be available inside the view. Sorry, the local view will have things that are little helper tools inside the view. There you go. Okay, so anyway, right now we're only seeing the structure, but pretty soon I'm gonna start using it, and you're gonna see how we can work with it. And of course, I always have my own errors handler in there. Just throw it, and you can see I'm not putting too much effort inside the errors right now, but in the future it's gonna prove useful. I'll be able to edit them without having to come back and look at all the codes where I'm using it. For now, this should be enough. Also, I mean, the local view has been commented out because I didn't really write that yet, but we're gonna write that too. Okay. So let's see what is going to happen here. All right, send as like right now, send only has to echo the content, and we're gonna have to do a little more than that, because I want to have the option to like either give content directly. Let's say if I have a JSON response, for example, I don't want an HTML template. I just want to print the content. So I want to be able to have if a content is set, to just print that. Otherwise, look if there's a template. If there's a template, then okay, we will print that too. And also, I'm gonna try to get into the habit of adding comments. Those are what is it called? PHP doc comments, and they're going to be very useful. They're going to help us also with code highlighting. For example, if you see a function and you're not sure what it does, you just hover on top of it and it gives you all the details. Now, that of course is a feature of your IDE, but a lot of them supports that. So try to use an IDE that supports this kind of features. It makes your job easier. You don't have to memorize all your functions. It just has what they call IntelliSense. So it just completes the function name for you, and at the same time it gives you a little bit of details. Of course, that detail is something you write yourself. Here I'm just writing the simple logic for how to uh, how to, well, to set a template and how to access that template. Oh, right. I'm gonna start giving comment and putting comments everywhere. It's gonna make it much easier to understand. Like, if we come back a year from now, we'll still know what is happening. That's the beauty of comments. I'm not just gonna write comments to say exactly. For example, if I do a for loop, I'm gonna put a comment on top of it that says, "Here is the for loop." That's not useful. But if I describe like what these variables are all for, a year from now when I come back, I can still try to maintain this page without having to relearn everything from scratch, like trying to follow the logic and all. I can just read the comments. And also those comments are going to be, for example, if I have a public variable, if I try to use it outside of this class, I just hover on top of it and then you'll tell me exactly what this variable is for and so on. So it's going to prove very useful. It's a good idea to start putting comments from the very beginning. I made this mistake of not starting with it, but I'm gonna try to do it from now on and try to add it to every single function that I created. Okay, so now I'm gonna get back to this to send function, which I wasn't exactly sure when I was trying to write it how it's supposed to work. So you can see I'm struggling a little bit, not sure what to type, but it's gonna get there eventually. I'm gonna make use of that function we just created inside the view. So when I create get view, is just gonna go select a template and pass it some variables, and from there it's just gonna process those, which we already wrote the code. I mean, if you watched, yeah. Oh, also on this video, I had a little bit of technical problems. My computer was super slow. I'm not sure why. Usually, even when I use a recording software, it still works fine. But today was exceptionally slow. So you might see some little point where I'm just the screen is just there blinking and nothing is happening. But yeah, that's what it is. My computer was slow. And even though this video is accelerated at 200%, it's still slow to watch. But anyway, that's a good way for you to be able to follow along also and see what is happening. And not only that the video is slow, but you have to remember that while I'm typing this, it's not rehearsed. I'm thinking. I'm trying to design this from scratch. I'm not really looking at my old blog or something like that because I want to create something fresh, something uh, I don't want to, because in my blog I have a lot of things that I say someday I'm going to fix them, but I never did, and so I want to make full use of it right now, and just write something better from the beginning. It's just a good way for me to practice, and a good way for you to learn. Anyway. Here I'm starting to build that template section. So inside our application, which is called blog, and the main section, I'm going to start creating a template folder. Like, as you can see here, I'm not sure exactly how to name it. So I started with template, and inside template, I'm going to add another folder called layout, which will allow me to put all the layouts of the website over there. The reason I added an extra folder is because I also want to have a section for errors. So I'm not going to add it in this video, but on the next probably, or whenever we get to errors. Yeah, so here we go. I copied our code, like our simple HTML that we had inside the controller, inside a template. And here I'm going to try to make sure that my framework can print it, can display it on the page. So basically I'm going to make a request through the URL, and then it's supposed to print this back to me. I use this little format to call the template, like it's called blog main and then the name of the template. Of course, it doesn't work automatically, but it tells me what's not defined. So get templates path is not defined yet. I thought I defined that already, but anyway, we need to do that now. Get template path, and also it needs some parameters, which is the path that's colon separated for now. Actually we'll just stick with that to get the template path, And for example, we're gonna do blog colon main colon and then index.php, and then from there I'm gonna convert this into a path, which will be source slash blog slash main slash the folder we just created right now, which is called template slash layout slash index.html.php. I know it seems redundant, but it's going to be look, we're not going to look at this code later. Once our framework is ready to be used, we're not looking at this anymore. So all you care about is the folder where it is, and you can be organized, so you know exactly where to put all your templates. So here, like I said, a framework is just a set of rules, and the whole point is once the framework is ready, you don't need to change it. You just need to write your own code, like to write the logic of your application. That's it, really. So the framework is just the blueprint on where to write your code, and I think we're getting there right now. I think all we need to do now is to actually print that content. As you can see, I like testing. I just put echoes somewhere just to make sure that the code is not stopping somewhere, because the page was blank. I want to make sure that my logic is being there. Okay, good. So it means now I can go and call that function called view that get content. You don't see a difference here, but it worked. It worked. So it means now we have the content is being displayed from our the content is being displayed from our content. I'm just gonna test here. Just write echo hello to see if it runs PHP also, and it does. So that's it. We did it. We have a framework and it runs code. We can select a container and it will run that. Isn't this amazing? And also, we're gonna be able to pass variables. That's one of the powerful features of this framework. I mean, it seems like nothing at all, but it's very powerful, because I can write something here, like var. Like I'm gonna start using this namespace. Just use var and pass it to the template, and then see if we can echo it inside here. And look at that. Your instructor is Ibrahim. There you go. It works, and the variable my name is defined inside the controller, and we can access it from the template, which is amazing. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is try to test our actual website that we created. So the scratchblog.com, and we're going to start using the main template in there to see if it works. So I'm going to start by adding the CSS, the images we have, and all that. And then I'm going to add also the actual content and see how it looks like, if it's going to work. I'm just going to open the blog and copy the content, which should be the includes, of course. Take the head. Next will be the header, maybe. Good. And then also the footer. Oh, make sure all the paths are absolute to make sure they come from the right place. Of course, it works now. All we need to do is remove the other stuff from there. I'm gonna make sure also it prints the title first. So you see, if I pass the variable like this, I can set my title inside the controller, and then any template I use will automatically have a title. All I need to do is come back to the template and change this variable right here to title. And that's it. We have a title, a blog written from scratch. And the next thing we should be doing is, okay, for example, a title should be available. Well, title not really, but I want to be able to have some variables that are accessible through any it should be accessible through any template. So my next thing is gonna be to try to make use of that how's it called, the local view, and I'm gonna start creating helpers. When I used Symfony before, and I like that feature, which is called slots. They have slots. You can just pass some globals in there. I know nobody likes globals, but we're gonna make use of globals. And so the container will have a few things. Like the container is an object that the controller inherits. So from the container, I will pass these values, and then retrieve them from inside. Instead of making use of the container inside the template, which will look weird because you have code everywhere. I'm gonna make use of it through the local view. So inside the container, I can set those slots. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but you will see it right now. For example, I'm gonna pass if I pass the title inside a slot, I can be able. I can access it. Okay, I'm losing my voice here. I can access it from inside the template without making use of the other variables, like the way we did it inside the controller by passing it to an array and then passing it inside the template. So let's see how this works. Okay. First, I need to do that. It extends the container. Good. And then set slot. I set the title here, which I forgot, so I have to go back and grab it. And okay, so I set the title, and inside the template. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Did I forget to? I didn't create the local view yet. Okay. Wow, sorry. It's gonna be very quick. Just gonna give it a few functions that I think are useful. Actually, just one for now. I just want to make use of the construct and the get slot. Yes. That's the thing. When you code for a long time, you just lose your thought. So you just need sometimes to take a break. You need to take a break. And I need to go hiking or do something like that. That will distract me a little. Yeah, when I was writing this, I started writing get slot, and then I realized, wait a minute, you don't know what you're doing. So where does the slot come from? Do I get it directly from the container? And I figured, no, I shouldn't do that. So I created a variable called vars. Give it a little description here so I can remember it 2 years from now. And I'm going to just use a construct. And during the construct, I'm just going to take all the values from the container right away. And so now, every time I call get slot, I check if it exists if that slot is taken. If it's not, just return null, which could be useful because I don't want it to throw an error if it's not defined, because sometimes I just don't want it to print anything. Like check a value, if it exists, print it. If it doesn't, just forget it. Okay, I'm gonna make use of it pretty soon now. But first I need to activate that part that I commented out. Okay, so here's how it's gonna look. Inside any template, you have access to this variable called view, and from there you can just call view.getSlot, and that's it. And also, if you notice right now, there was a little error. That's a cool, neat thing from PHP, in the newer versions of PHP, where there's the strict standard where you make sure you cannot just write anything any way you want. It has to be written properly, otherwise it won't work. Anyway, as you can see now, we have the full website. It's there, it works, and yeah, we did it. We did it. I mean, that's all we need really. If we can find a way to store our content. Now, all we need to do is, like, when you reach this particular page, have the controller do the logic and then select the correct article to show. For example, on the home page, of course, we're going to be using different, like we're going to say, let's bring all the list of all the articles. And if we're just saving it inside little files, of course, it's going to look terrible at some point. So this is a good place to get started with database, and hopefully on the next version, on the next episode, we'll start making a database manager, a data manager that just brings us back the data. It doesn't matter if we use a database, as long as the data is saved somewhere, even if it's XML or if it's JSON, whatever, we don't care. We just want data. And that's the beauty of having a framework. We don't want to think of the logic really. We just want data and bring us data. And we can use the same approach I took earlier when I was building functions before they're even defined. So that's what we're going to do next time, hopefully. If not next time, then it's going to come in the near future. Alright, thank you for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you like this video, and also give a thumbs up, because that makes this video more findable for others, and you'll be doing your part. If you like it, just don't forget to do that. Alright, thank you for watching, and you will hear from me next time. Alright, bye.